Hey everybody, my name is Ethix.
My name is T.
And welcome to Fearful Thoughts. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. Did you have a happy new year, little buddy?
Yeah, I stayed up playing video games all night while my neighbors were shooting up fucking mortars at midnight like assholes.
Goddamn bastards. I know we had a bunch of people in our area doing the same thing. I, however, was not up until midnight.
I was just up playing video games. I didn't do like a countdown or anything. I looked at the clock and I was like, thank God it's not 2020 anymore. That was my only concern.
Yeah, just as long as nobody plays with the Hellraiser cube and starts us all over.
Oh, was it the Hellraiser cube, or was it more like
Jumanji?
Yeah, I was gonna say Jumanji. Like someone fucking finished the game.
Fuck, somebody better finish the game. That was a bullshit year.
That was a bullshit year. We a lot of shitty things happened over 2020.
Fuck yeah, it did. I mean, Jesus.
We got Rona. We got
fucking Rona.
I know I've talked about not saying anything about politics, but I'm just gonna say it like this: all the stupid shit that happened with politics.
Yeah, politics in general this year was really stupid.
Yeah,
on both sides.
Yeah,
that's why I try to stay out of it.
No, I don't blame you.
It makes you dumber. It
really does. It's a reality TV show. That's all it is.
It really is anymore.
Yeah,
and did you have any New Year's resolutions?
My New Year's resolution was to go hunting for some black-eyed kids. I'm sorry. That was a bad joke. Oh, God. No, I do have a New Year's resolution, to not procrastinate as much.
That's a good one.
Because I find myself procrastinating a lot. Like, I have all these ideas that I want to do, and like I want to edit more and learn how to do other stuff. I want to do other videos and everything, but I'm just like, I could do it later.
Right, yeah. That's definitely a good one.
What was yours?
To go on adventures more.
Yeah, well, motherfucker, I hear you're going on a big adventure in just a few months.
In about 6 months, I'm going to be going to Ireland. And not just one spot. We're going to start in Dublin and work our way around. We're going to stay in a castle.
You son of a bitch.
We're going to go see the Kissing Stone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Think about all the herpes that are on that stone.
I'm going to try not to. And actually, the myth behind the Kissing Stone is those who kiss it are granted with a gift to gab.
Can you maybe explain to the viewers and my retarded self just a little bit?
Which part?
What is the gift of the gab?
The gift to gab?
Like
talk.
The baby gab?
Talking. Be able to talk more fluently.
I said baby gab instead of gap. It was a pun, but you didn't catch that.
Jesus Christ. No, I didn't.
I'm sorry. Anyway, so you can talk better. Like, it gives you, like...
More better.
See, you fucking need it.
I'm telling you.
Goddamn grammatically incorrect. Yeah, so...
So there's that, and actually one thing I would like to do, and includes you, buddy.
Ooh.
Is, and it's
clothes on, right?
Yes. I would hope so. It would get really awkward otherwise. It has to do with our topic today.
Oh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure the viewers remember from the, I don't know, ginormous fucking hint from last weekend where we were like, oh, we shouldn't tell them, but, you know, it's this, and he's over there and there and there, and they were like, motherfuckers, we know what it is.
Are you sure? that they caught it. I mean, because I don't know. Do we have any voice messages or anything?
Oh,
I mean, do we got anything like that?
You know, there it is. No, we don't. Another episode, another disappointment. Just before you jump back on that, this is my quick little reminder, you little bastards. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna go to Facebook, because now there's a Facebook page that yours truly made.
We have a Facebook page now?
Yeah, because I got bitched at so much for not having it.
I wonder who did that.
I don't know.
Probably somebody pretty fucking smart.
Oh yeah.
You should have hit the other one for that one. But
you mean that one?
No, Mr. Garrison.
That's awful.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so here's what you here. This is my one-on-one to you little bastards out there that are listening. You need to go to facebook.com on your Facebook page. Okay, you're gonna search in there. You're gonna search up Fearful Thoughts or Fearful Thoughts Podcast, because that's where we're under both. And you're gonna go to the page. On the page, there's a post on there that has the link to voice message us on.
Really?
Yeah. Would you look at that?
I would if I was on Facebook right now.
I'm not.
But I'm here with you instead.
But it is possible to go onto Facebook.com, look up Fearful Thoughts or Fearful Thoughts Podcast, and go on to the link that was posted just recently. All the episodes are also going to be posted on there as well. All of them are up to date right now.
Even the video?
Yeah, the video version of it. But
nice.
So, what I need you guys to do is voice message us, because if you don't, I'm coming after you.
We will find you
and eat you. No, I'm just kidding. But
seriously, start messaging us.
Yeah, now that there's a Facebook page,
there's no excuse.
Yeah, no, seriously, there's I think 27 people on the Facebook page already.
Wow.
Yeah, and none of those motherfuckers are voice messaging us, even though I know a few of them.
Messaging us on Facebook?
No, I set it to where, listen, I was really strict with this shit.
So they can't send us a message on Facebook?
No. What they can do, because to contact us, they have to go, the contact button for it is the link to go to Anchor to voice message us.
What if somebody's shy and doesn't want their voice out there?
Well, the good news is that there's also a second page. That's right. Wait, there's more. We had a second page made for the group or fans, or whatever you guys want to call it, where you guys can go on there, discuss different topics, and talk about stuff. If you guys want to post something, we'll try to check on that as frequent as possible. So if you post like something that you want on the show, but you are shy, I guess I'll allow it.
All right. Okay. Good. Because I'm sure there are those out there, and that could be why they haven't voice messaged us.
Yeah. No,
I'm just trying to throw them a bone here.
It's funny because Nick, the guy that
our guest judge,
he was like, I was gonna voice message you guys, and I said, why didn't you? And then he was like, because if I voice messaged you, he's like, it'd be more like, hey guys, fuck you, and then out.
And I would still play that.
I would still play it too, but then I was like, nah. I told him, and he was like, see, that's why I haven't.
See, I would totally put that out there, because anything is better than nothing.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because right now, if you go to the page and you look at our voice messages, you'll get a whole lot of
nothing. Absolute silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No, it's not.
You know what I'm gonna start doing? As much, because these are people that are close to us. I'm gonna start name dropping. I'm gonna start putting these people on blast. A few of them at least, because, like, I know it's not gonna like offend or hurt them, but I'm gonna call them out.
Good. I think that's a great plan.
Just because they're family friends and they're family.
No last name, just first name, and call them out. Yeah, I like that. So, with that said, you want to tell the folks what this week's all about?
Oh yeah, to get back onto what you were talking about.
Correct.
We are talking about the big hairy man that doesn't like pictures.
The Wolfman.
No. He likes pictures if you get it good. No. We're talking about
the Mummy.
No. It's a big hand. Big hand. Oh shit! Sorry, it was wrong.
Right.
Bigfoot.
Oh, Bigfoot.
Yeah,
that guy.
That's who I was meaning.
That guy's pretty cool, pretty sweet.
And also, apparently, we're also talking about his relatives.
Yes, the Yeti.
Yeah.
Also, there's the
honey swamp swamp monster.
Well, I was gonna keep it a secret till the time, but you
shit! Well, I'm sorry.
I should have muted your mic. The Honey Island swamp monster, who is related to Bigfoot down in Louisiana area.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I got some cool facts. Some that I didn't know.
Sorry for the spoiler.
Yeah, asshole. Some cool facts that even I didn't know about Bigfoot. Some really cool stuff. A couple stories.
Nice.
What do you got?
So I knew that you were going with that way. I know you went with the facts on the abominable snowman, the big Yeti, the big white boy.
Whitey's gotta pay.
But I did the stories on him. You did facts.
Yes.
Which
yes,
I have a brief description, but my stories are actually about the Himalayan monster, the Yeti, and he's also been seen in other regions all over the world.
I got one hell of a fact for you
about him.
It's my turn. Yeah, that'll blow your socks off.
I'm extremely excited. Yes. So talking about the Bigfoot, going back to what you were talking about earlier, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
We're gonna go hunting.
We're going hunting?
We're gonna go hunting for Bigfoot.
Oh shit! We might have to put that on the channel.
we're gonna
fucking live stream
get some camping gear. We're gonna go out to the Wenatchee National Forest and to some of the hot spots and look for them.
So
look for traces of them and just have a spooky good time out there. Tell some spooky tales.
You know what the
shitty
part about that would be?
If he actually showed up.
Yeah, what the fuck would we do? You get a big fishing net?
Invite him to tell stories with us. Duh.
I'd offer some, the best olive branch that you can ever give, especially at camp, is a s'more.
Fuck yeah. I bet he loves s'mores. I mean, who doesn't?
Hopefully, it's not body parts. I'd be very disappointed if it was my arm that he was chewing on in lieu of the s'more.
Right, like that's not right. I mean,
yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to do. It's always been a long time dream of mine to go hunting for him. So I want to try to make that happen this year.
I like that, and it's also part of your New Year's resolution to do more adventures. Yeah. Adventure time. Come on, grab your friends. Now you're going to mute me, aren't you?
No.
So
yeah. So that kind of tied back that around.
So Have you seen the big hairy monster?
I've never personally seen him. There's been stories that I've heard for years and years
Oh,
surrounding up in the Wenatchee area.
really?
Yeah.
Huh. You know, I was always thinking. I never would have thought Wenatchee. I would have thought more like maybe like Seattle, Bellingham, over
Mount
on the
Rainier
coast.
area. and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, up in Wenatchee is the start of the Wenatchee National Forest.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the forest is there. The Wenatchee National Forest is actually a good size. So when you say that, it doesn't necessarily mean right there at Wenatchee, just that area.
The only thing I got to tell you right now, since I don't own one, you better bring a gun.
I got you covered.
Well, the only reason I say
I got
that
one
is
for
because
you and one for me.
well, the
Nerf
like
guns.
oh shit, we're dead. Well, the only reason I was saying that is because there was a spike in wolf population just recently over in Wenatchee. There was
Really?
a big pack that was seen not too long ago. I would say in the last like 6-7 months.
Oh, okay.
And they migrated over, from what I remember reading. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. Over in Montana, that they were migrating through.
Oh, okay.
But they held up, and I think they still are in Wenatchee. So it probably would be smart to bring a gun.
Oh, yeah. You never
You never know.
go on something like that without some sort of protection. Not to mention our awesome axe throwing skills.
Yeah.
Come on, come on.
I could double throw that shit.
Fuck yeah, no, we're talking.
Gonna go Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. So, with all of that out of the way, are you ready for this week's random horror fact?
I am most certainly ready.
Are you? Are you really ready?
Yeah, make sure you play that slideshow too.
The one that you worked so hard to get me the pictures for.
You're
last
damn right
minute.
I did.
Because I've been, I wouldn't say slacking.
No, you've been
I
preoccupied with other stuff.
I was actually working on some future episodes.
Yeah, the future.
Yeah, I'm constantly 1 week to 2 weeks ahead on my research.
Yeah.
But what I'm working on right now is almost like bonus material kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, something that spans a long distance.
And
Like, we're going to start off at 1900.
1900 to current?
To current.
Yeah, there
Yes.
we go.
So it's going to take us a while to go through it all. But it'll be a really fun and interesting journey.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So I've been working on that, and I did not get to my pictures like I wanted to.
Nah, it's fine.
But that's all right. So we have some pictures. I'm going to pull them suckers up right now. Oh, look. Wes Craven. Yeah. Ooh. As you can tell by the pictures, we're going to be talking about Scream this week.
Ooh.
Yeah. Did you know Scream was inspired by actual events that took place in Gainesville, Florida during the early 90s?
Nuh-uh.
An American serial killer known as the Gainesville Ripper murdered students in rather disturbing ways. Writers Kevin Williamson watched a news report about the murders and was scared out of his mind. The fear inspired him to write the opening scene for Scream. And did you know Linda Blair, who is best known for playing the possessed child Reagan in The Exorcist, had a small cameo in Scream?
Did she?
She played a reporter who briefly hassles Sidney Prescott. And then, of course, you know, the iconic late horror director Wes Craven also had a cameo.
Oh, what did he play?
Craven was best known for creating a Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and so for his cameo, he wore the Freddy Krueger hat and sweater.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's a dope cameo.
Right?
So, was he portraying Mr. Freddy Krueger?
No, he was portraying, I believe the guy was a janitor.
Okay. But wasn't...
But he was dressed with the iconic red and green sweater and the fedora.
I think the thing that gets me about that is that it would be really cool to see all of like the horror universe in like that aspect, like Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, Leatherface, Chucky, all of them, Jason, of course, and just do an all-out kill for all. You know what I mean? A kill all kind of thing, or kill each other.
Yeah, that'd be something.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
That was actually all I got. I kept my horror fact pretty short and sweet this time.
Nice.
Because sometimes it's a little bit longer, sometimes it's a little bit shorter. Depends on the temperature outside.
Yeah.
No. I didn't want to go too much because I know at some point we're going to be covering movies and stuff, and so I don't want to use up all my information on a random facts because it would take away from a future episode.
Yeah, and to all future listeners and current, if you just started watching or you've been with us for a little bit already, even if we mention whether it's a serial killer, a cryptid, a movie, a video game, a book, whatever, just because it's mentioned with brief details, even in a future episode, like let's say we did a versus episode, or we did a little bit of backstory on Ghostface, that doesn't mean that we won't come back and look at the franchise of Scream and go through their movies. And so, like I said, everything's going to get covered. We're going to try our best to get fucking every nook and cranny.
Yeah, and if you think we're leaving something else out, message us.
Oh, that's a perfect little time to send a little voice message.
Yeah.
You like my little ASMR?
I like your AM radio voice.
Hey there, guys. Are you guys ready to get to the breakfast club? No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
All right.
So, and for those of you watching, there's a picture in here of somebody that doesn't quite look like Ghostface, but it's because he's from the Scream TV show, not the movie. Yeah,
and I think you can watch that on Netflix.
Yes, it's on Netflix. I have yet to check it out.
I've watched.
I will once though.
I've watched a couple episodes. It wasn't like fully watching it, but it was pretty good.
I gotta admit, I started watching on Netflix season 3 of Cobra Kai.
Ooh.
Yeah. We binged like 3 or 4 episodes last night.
Oh, Jesus, nice.
Yeah. We're probably going to binge the rest of them tonight.
Hell yeah.
I love that show. The whole Cobra Kai show is amazing.
Yeah, I like it too. Well, we better get your ass getting going for bed soon, so I think it's time to do 2 truths and a lie.
Ooh, all right. Let's see if you can stump me this week.
I think I actually might
you've been
stump
doing
you.
Pretty good, so
yeah.
The odds are against me.
You've gotten 1 right out of 8 episodes.
Is it? I thought this was our 8th episode. Yeah, this is our 8th episode. So
oh, I'm sorry.
One right
I'm
out
sorry.
Of 7.
I'm getting a little
your
ahead.
Numbers right, bitch.
No, just getting a little ahead of myself. So let's see if you can.
You're starting to piss me off, you little piglet son bitch.
Okay, So, in that instance, let's get started. First up, the study shows that only 16% of Americans believe in Bigfoot. In 1965, Bigfoot was officially put on the endangered species list in Ireland, Greenland, and Finland followed suit in 1967. There was a period before Greenland, so it was Greenland and Finland followed Ireland in 67. And then the next one is the myth of the hairy creature Bigfoot does not exist in Canadian culture. I win.
Huh.
I brought my A game this week.
You did. Wow. Jesus.
Yeah, you better get nice and comfortable now. I'll do a little bit of my ASMR for you.
Trying to put me to sleep over here.
Hey, how you doing? Do you want a breakfast sandwich?
What kind of breakfast sandwich?
It's one of those you gotta pull out my pants and find out. You gotta unwrap it.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. A kind of sounds truthful. There's 16% of Americans believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's actually a higher number than I would think.
Mm-hmm.
God. I want to say that C is the lie.
Do you want to repeat for the audience what C was?
The myth of a hairy creature does not exist in Canadian culture.
So
I find that one hard to believe.
No, just okay. Before you actually choose your answer, I'll give you a chance. Okay.
Can I phone a friend?
This isn't.
My friend is Google.
No, this isn't Deal or No Deal. Like you can't.
I know, because you have not been bringing any treats for me to win. Maybe I would try harder if there was a prize.
I'll give you the prize. No, I'll give you a chance to think it. Okay, think on it. Really think on this one, because there's a reason why I did it the way that I did. There are shorter answers, shorter statements, I should say, and they could all be very possibly believable, and they could all be true.
Yeah.
You got this. I believe in you. Come on.
Okay, B is definitely.
And that's your final
because
answer.
In order for him to be put on the endangered species list, they would have to acknowledge his existence and therefore move him out of the cryptid myth to reality.
Okay. And that's why you're justifying that answer?
That's how I'm going to justify that answer, because you can't put some. I wouldn't think that you could put something on the endangered species list if it's not considered real.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's my final answer.
You sure?
Positive. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you 5 more seconds, and then you could change your answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
B.
All right, you got it right. Oh, man.
The more I thought about it, I was like, because I was like, there's no way that he doesn't exist in Canadian culture. But then I started reading B more, and I was like, well, wait a second.
So,
endangered species list? No.
There is some truth to that, though. And I only changed the countries. There were 3 countries that put him on the endangered species list.
Really?
Yeah, this is fact. It was Russia that first did it.
Okay.
And then France and Germany did it after Russia did in 1967.
Okay, that That would make sense, because that there's something in one of my stories that might. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
cool. Yeah.
So you got it all down and good?
Yeah, I'm 2 and 6.
2 out of 6.
2 and 6.
Fuck, I almost had you, and I thought
Almost.
I did.
You were close. And then when I looked a little bit deeper, I saw.
Yeah, I was trying
Yeah.
to fuck with you a little bit. That didn't.
Good job.
Was it a good try? Would
Yeah,
you-
yeah, that was a very good try. Yeah, you're getting good at that, and
Yeah.
eventually, I might win more.
Yeah. Eventually, your odds are stacked against you a little bit, but you did win this week, so congratulations.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
All right. So
Are we?
I'm gonna get comfy over here while you get all set up.
Yeah. What happened to your pajamas and all your?
It's fucking
Your blanket.
cold in here.
Yeah, I
so
know.
I should have brought my blanket to stay warm.
Yeah.
And now it's like
It's probably like 50
not
in here.
in the studio where I
It's
need
probably
it.
like 60.
And yeah, I should have brought it.
It's a little nipply out there.
It is.
Okay. So Here's-
So,
here's the story of the abominable snowman.
a man named Brady.
Oh God.
I couldn't help that one. Okay,
you're-
you
you're
set
fine.
it up.
The abominable snowman, Tibetan Yeti, mythical monster, resembling a large, hairy, ape-like being supposed to inhabit the Himalayas at about the level of the snowline. Though reports of actual sightings of such a creature are rare, certain mysterious markings in the snow have traditionally been attributed to it. Those not caused by lumps of snow or stones falling from higher regions and bouncing across the lower slopes have probably been produced by bears. At certain gates, bears place the hind foot partly over the imprint of the forefoot, thus making a very large imprint that looks deceptively like an enormous human footprint positioned in the opposite direction. So, that was just a little bit of backstory of what people thought or could think it could be a big snow bear.
Bear, huh?
Yeah. Just because of how it's the foot placement and how they
Okay.
carry themselves.
Yeah. I
Okay.
can see that. I can see that.
So, this one is called My Encounter with the Yeti. I was hardly known as being a particularly brave man. So you can imagine my surprise when my master, who I was currently working under for a fair amount of wage, stood up from his black leather couch and announced to the whole room, "Grab your things, Charles. We shall be embarking upon an expedition." Just following a rather aged documentary about Mount Everest and the local legends of a terrible beast, the Yeti, which wandered the mountain. Irwin Baker had always had a fascination with the unknown, and as his valet, I was inclined to listen to his frequent ramblings of the occult and supernatural, and occasionally even partake in the occasional ritual that he claimed would grant immortality, or some other fanciful enhancement. Perhaps it was because he was so rich that life just didn't hold its elements of surprise as much any longer, and this was just one of his many attempts to starve off boredom. Either way, I do not claim to know, and soon we had traveled from London to Rome, and to Rome to Turkey, and finally the long journey from Turkey to Nepal. Nepal was a very cold place, might I say. The air was thin, and the locals were more than happy to relieve us of a few pounds in exchange for supplies for our rather impromptu expedition. We had gathered a team of a rough and ready sort, and our guide, who went by the name of Lawrence Fisher, had vexed me from the very beginning. He bore a greasy black handlebar mustache and a head of similar colored hair, and carried himself as if he was a prince. My master and I must have shared the same loathing, but he had claimed to have made it to the top and down 5 different times. Of course, my master was uninterested in the full journey, and instead wanted simply to find a photograph of the elusive Yeti. Lawrence also claimed to have made arrangements, and after staying in Nepal for a night, we began our trip to the base of the great mountain via a bus. My master was a little upset at its condition, as it was rusty and worn and rattled us every time we encountered a slight bump in the road. But he managed to at least prevent other passengers from coming aboard and mucking up the trip more than it already was. The trip to the mountain lasted 2 long days, and as I stared blankly out at the window and into the hilly surroundings, I couldn't help but feel some apprehension about going on such a journey. Of course, I didn't really believe that Yetis existed, and all the different rituals my master had made me do had all ended in failure. But even so, these lands had a sort of mysticism about them, something distinctly unknown. We arrived at the base of the mountain at about noon, and when we pulled up to a small lake by the name of Imja, we saw an old rundown shack beside it. Lawrence led the group to the shack, and inside the foul-smelling place was this crusty old man who was communicated only in sign language. Lawrence translated the various signs to something like footsteps on the middle, look for caves. I thought my master would be upset at such vague news, but to my surprise, he gave the man a thankful nod and said, "Gentlemen, we have our course." Everyone present shared my surprise as he walked off back to the park bus, but a few mumbles and shrugs were exchanged, and from there on we moved on. Yet another 3 hours later, we reached a different part of the mountain, and the bus drove away this time. "Lead the way, Mr. Fisher," spoke my master, with a cheerful voice, and we were on our way up. At this point, the air was dry, but not as cold as you may imagine. Sure, it was quite frigid, but with all the coats and layers we wore, the weather was quite bearable. I suppose the best thing I could say of our expedition was the beautiful surroundings, with massive valleys of green and incredible views of the nearby landscape. The mountain loomed overhead farther than I could see, and the snow underneath our feet was crunchy. After about a day of travel, we made camp at the flattest piece of ground we could find. Camping on Mount Everest was a painful affair, considering the bitter cold bit into you at night, and further up you went. But we made it through and continued to follow Lawrence to the next morn. It was about 2:30, according to my watch, when Lawrence stopped dead in his tracks about 50 feet ahead, and with a jubilant expression turned to us and began shouting, "We are on the trail, my friends, look!" When my master and I approached where he was standing, we were both equally shocked by the outline of what appeared to be an oversized foot in the ground. Irwin looked more overjoyed, whilst I must have appeared quite horrified by what was before me. All these years I imagined that the pictures of footsteps upon slopes of Everest had been staged, but the frightening reality of what was before me hit harder than I imagined. Even so, I kept my best poker face and couldn't help but grin a little at this, at just how enthusiastic my master appeared. Usually, past the twinkle in his eyes, one could see a hint of boredom within them. It was gone now, and I thought that was a good thing, to be quite honest. The people who were with us just stood there, most with expressions of disbelief. One rubbed his eyes, while another raised a hand to his mouth. There was a little hesitation within the men as we pressed on, following the scattered prints in a hope to find where they led. "Looks to be a snowstorm in the making," Lawrence announced, picking up his pace. "We must find our Yeti before it sets in." How he knew this, I do not know, but he stomped up the snowy slopes at double time, and my master and I followed suit. There was a childish spark of adventure in me that evened out with the initial shock of seeing the mark in the snow. Perhaps I am just a weird person at heart, but Irwin's pure enthusiasm was courageous. Another night went by, and the prints were beginning to grow more and more discernible. At first, the outline was very faint, but as we continued our progress up the mountain, the marks were clearer. 3 huge toe-shaped extremities and a giant main section. Simple enough, but nonetheless frightening. And to think we had found our footprints within the first week. It was incredible. Perhaps we really would be the first ones to discover the Yeti after all. A couple of men had snapped some photographs of the prints we had found, as my master demanded, and we had even taken an old Polaroid along just to make sure none of the evidence would be lost. It was another day of travel, and things were beginning to get much colder. The air was starting to become more thin, but we pressed on. Flurries were falling from the slightly darkened sky now as we walked, but were hardly enough to cover up the trail of footprints. That night we made camp. A boy named Anoki, who was a native of the region, approached me in my tent with a serious expression on his youthful face. "Why does your master wish to find the Yeti?" he asked. "Mr. Irwin is a man of variety," I replied in a proud manner. "He wishes to be the first to find the Yeti and prove it exists." Anoki just stared at me blankly for a while. "I did not think that we would find the Yeti. I will be leaving tomorrow. You should do the same." And with those ominous lines, he ducked out of my tent and left me there to ponder. The next morning, he was nowhere to be found, and a little of our supplies had gone missing. My master didn't hold it against him, bless his soul, and acted as though nothing ever happened. A few rumors flew around here and there about why Anoki had left, but soon the rest of us forgot about him, and we were on our way again. Today was the day we found where the footprints led to. It was just 8 in the morning when we stumbled across the gaping maw of a cave in the distance. Sure enough, the prints went right to it. We had all gathered at the entrance and stared into the murky abyss with apprehension. Even Lawrence didn't have his usual confident look on his face anymore. The atmosphere was silent and awkward for a time before I spoke up. It was something completely uncharacteristic of me, I know, but my curiosity about what was inside the cave had piqued my interest. "I shall go in first." Everyone looked at me and nodded in a grateful way, including my master, who also appeared a little proud. For a time, I just swung my arms and cleared my throat in preparation, looking around at the expectant stares around me as I took a step forward. "I will be going in now," I restated, slowly taking a few steps forward and letting the darkness of the cave engulf me. Thankfully, we were equipped with heavy-duty flashlights for just such a circumstance, and as I entered, I turned mine on. The whole cave lit up in a brilliant pale as I progressed through it. There wasn't the usual dripping of water one would expect to hear within a cave, considering any water was probably frozen in these conditions. The tunnel snaked around a bit, forcing me through a section of left and right turns in a very rigid manner. While the walls were actually considerably close to each other, the ceiling almost higher than I could see upwards. The cave continued on a little further before terminating in one giant cavern ahead. The ceiling was far closer to the ground here, but for some odd reason, whitish blue ice had crept into the walls and ceiling until it was all covered the whole area. It was quite strange. I thought, considering I had seen no such thing within the tunnel area. Even stranger, there was no need for my light here because the roof of the cave had a jagged hole within it, and that let the light of the sun cascade through the ice formations nearby. Hundreds of miniature icicles hung from the intact part of the roof, but what took my breath upwards, what took my breath away was the sight of a skeleton hanging upside down with a skull and bones of its upper body scattered very sporadically on the freezing floor below. I put my hand to my mouth, and now it was not only the cold that sent a chill down my spine. Bloody bones belonging to all kinds of various different creatures were littered all across the place, but what disturbed me most was how many of them were human. Some were hard to distinguish because they lay in a messy piles with other bones of different creatures, but the one in plain sight were enough to let me know that we had most certainly found our Yeti. My heart nearly stopped as my eyes slowly looked over the rest of the cave. But my immense relief, the beast must have not been home at that moment. I almost couldn't bring myself in to snap a Polaroid before I left, but I had managed to do so in the end. When I showed the image to the group outside, everyone seemed just as frightened as I had been. That included my master, who, with an unsavory look upon his face, said, "Gentlemen, I believe we have what we came for. It is time to depart, and in a most timely fashion." Not one man raised a protest of any sort, and soon we began descending the slope of the great mountain once again. I suppose when he saw that picture, Irwin knew just what he was getting himself and his group into. And the risks outweighed the rewards. We, like many others, had gathered what little information we could and would not be pushing our luck. But I'm afraid that my tale doesn't end there. For as we stomped our way down the mountain at a reasonable rate, we were engulfed within a blizzard that descended upon us in what felt like a few minutes. The whole world was cloaked in a powdery white, and soon I had to struggle in order to see 5 feet in front of me. I made it a priority to stay by my master all the way, who plodded onwards with his gloves batting in the air ahead in an attempt to aid his vision. "Well, Lawrence did warn us," I shouted, trying to stay as positive as possible. "Indeed he did, but not of how fast it would happen," came the reply, and to be honest, I couldn't refute this. It had been about an hour of insistent walking, and I was sure we must have lost some men by this point. I could see none of the nearby surroundings, only an endless amount of snow and a barren wasteland beneath my feet, which I was beginning to have trouble feeling, just as I thought things could not possibly get worse. Through the unbearable howling of the wind, a terrible cacophony of roars filled the air. The noise was so loud that the ground underneath our feet shook as if it was about to give way, and I found myself falling face first into the snow. The frozen liquid stung my already chilled flesh, but I rose back to my feet in order to join my master once again. The scream sounded unearthly. It was hard to describe, but I would liken it to the sound of 1,000 lions roaring at once, mixed with the cries of 100 children. It was terrifying, to say the least. And despite the weather, my master and I began running faster than ever. We became fueled by our adrenaline as something from behind us slowly began growing more and more noticeable. It was rhythmic rumble that shook the ground like the roar, but to a lesser extent. but it sounded suspicious, frightening in a primitive way, as if a man had grown 3 stories tall and was sprinting toward us. From what little I can recall of this, my theory must not have been far off, because we heard a horrible scream from behind that momentarily pierced the veil of wind before fading into the frozen oblivion for good. With pure fear to spur us on, we began almost stumbling down the mountain. That thing must not have been far behind. But the reason I believe we are still alive today is because our team brought the 2 of us time. After what felt like hours, the storm was beginning to let up, enough for me to see the figure of Lawrence Fisher lagging slightly behind us and occasionally glancing back into the storm in fear. The only memory I have of the beast itself is the massive, hairy arm that momentarily reached out from the cloak of snow to grab the entirety of his torso and drag him, screaming at the top of his lungs for help, into the ocean of murky white. Erwin and I didn't stop running until we were far away from the storm. And even then, we were sure to behave as if paranoid. All the provisions we had for the way back were some bags of chips and bottles of soda we kept in our coats. But after 3 days of no sleep and exhausting travel, we managed to stumble down off that god-forsaken mountain and back to the closest thing to civilization that was nearby. Besides my master and I, only one man made it off that mountain alive, and it was the boy Inoki, who we actually ended up meeting on the way down. He had been traveling at a much slower pace, you see, and was more than happy to share the food he had taken with us. Water wasn't exactly much of a problem, though, as you may imagine. The 3 of us made our way back to the village. After we exchanged our horrifying tale, and after thanking the boy, we booked a flight back to Turkey. I am currently recording our story in this country, and make of it what you will, but please, if you value your life at all, do not visit Mount Everest. Something lurks there, amongst its frozen slopes, waiting and hunting its prey. Something that is truly horrifying. And that's the end.
Wow.
Was that a good story?
Yes, that is one hell of a good story.
Yeah.
I actually muted my mic through the story because I found I was catching myself so many times wanting to say something.
You were trying. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I was holding back because each time I was getting ready to say something, you'd say something else.
Yeah.
That just
I was doing a dramatic pause.
Yeah. No. The dramatic pause was amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
That story had so much going on with it that. Holy shit.
Listen to the little Inoki boy.
Right?
I'm booking it, dude. You're a native to this land. You know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm gonna listen.
Yeah, they should have listened to him.
Yeah, I think the part that was cool to me, honestly, was when all they saw was the hairy arm just grab his fucking torso and drag his ass back.
Right? Holy cow. And then all the human skeletons and stuff hanging.
It was a massacre.
The cave. Wow.
Well,
Jesus.
Yeah, don't go hunting for the Yeti.
At least, not for the Yeti. He sounds like he's definitely a lot more angry.
He's an angry boy.
I mean, I guess if I was that fucking cold, I'd be angry all the time, too.
You gotta imagine the body mass that he has in the fur.
Right?
You know what I mean?
He'd have to, just to stay warm.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Whatever his body temperature needs to be.
And even though he might be man-like, I mean, you got to think of the altitude that's going on up there too. His lungs have a better capacity than human.
Oh yeah, for him to be able to move like that and everything. And just think if you took him from up there and brought him down here to sea level, how much more power he would have.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, he'd be able to run forever
Yeah,
without
he'd
getting tired because...
beat the fuck out of everybody.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, that story.
That was a good one,
Yeah.
man. Holy shit.
That was pretty good.
That was.
Yeah, I hope you listeners out there enjoyed that one too. So I have another one for you.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
yeah.
This is the last one. It's a shorter one, but it's still a pretty creepy story.
That does not look short. He's for those of you who aren't seeing any of this, he's
I'm holding up the paper.
like 6 pages.
No, I'm holding up
And he
3.
says it's short.
Those are 3 pages.
3 double-sided.
It's not double-sided.
Don't listen to him.
You're tripping the fuck out. It's
Don't listen to him, folks. It's just, you can only hear me now. He is holding up like 12 pages now. Alright, just
Yeah.
mess with you, man.
You son of a bitch.
Go ahead.
I was only gonna say that it's like 3/4 of one page, and then
I'm messing with you. I don't care.
whatever. Anyway,
I'm
let's
enjoying
get
these
going.
Stories.
Okay. So this one didn't have a name at all. This was just a experience that someone put into, I guess. From what I was reading on it, they didn't use their real names.
Okay.
So
So they didn't want to.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be known for this.
no.
Because there's a lot of people out there that think that people believe in Bigfoot are crazy.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I don't know how much truth is to this story.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's get into it. It has been 2 weeks since Billy and his friends Amy and Jack have been hiking in Himalayan mountains. On the 7th day, Billy and Amy saw a giant white figure walking in the snow, but when they ran towards it, the strange figure disappeared. The only clues it left behind were giant footprints imprinted in the snow. So Billy and Amy wanted to stay and find who the mysterious figure was, but Jack didn't believe them, so he wanted to go home. Smart. But he didn't want to be abandoned by his friends. Jack finally made a decision and stayed with his friends. On the 12th day of the hike, Jack went missing, but Billy and Amy couldn't find Jack anywhere. So then Billy suggested that they both hike down to the village nearby to find out if there were any rumors about what they saw. The first place they checked to find any information was the bar in the village. They asked everybody, but one man in the back corner told Billy there have been Yeti sightings at the top of the mountains. The first crazy idea that popped into Billy's head was to hike all the way to the top of the mountain. Amy argued, but they both knew they had to find Jack. It was 4 a.m. the next morning, and they got all the supplies they needed ready for the big hike, so they then started their hike. But the hike didn't take as long as they thought, because halfway to the top, Billy heard a scream. Amy and Billy wandered around for a few hours, but found nothing until they heard a roar from the distance and saw the giant white figure again. This time, Billy sprinted as hard as he could, while Amy tried to keep up behind him. After a minute, they caught up, but just missed it because it walked into a cave. While standing at the front of the cave, they both heard roars and screams, but then they heard a laugh. Billy and Amy were confused for a second, but then the mysterious figure walked out. As it walked out, you could hear its footsteps shaking the ground. So Billy and Amy got the pocket knives out to get ready for what was coming. When the figure stepped out, their faces were pale white. It looked like they had seen a ghost, but they saw a Yeti. Billy and Amy both screamed, but some strange reason Billy screamed like a girl, and Billy and Amy ran in circles while being chased by the Yeti. Every time they looked behind to see if they had lost it yet, they could see the Yeti's great big yellow eyes, its huge mouth, and the yellow and black teeth that were so huge that it could bite a person in half. Suddenly, Billy and Amy heard Jack's voice yell, "Stop!" Jack came out limping and explained everything. Jack was going to do a number 1, but then he slipped on ice and sprained his foot. He told them that the Yeti, who he named BIG, which stands for Big Icy Gorilla, saved him and brought him into this cave. BIG put ice on it for him and danced for Jack to make him laugh. Billy and Amy understood, and Billy, Amy, and Jack decided to come here every month to check on BIG to see how he is going. They all then swore never to tell anyone about BIG, the Yeti, besides their children until the day they die. It was... So, here we go. It was midnight, May 1951, when the... and that was the end of that little story. I was kind of like
that was the end.
Like a little lighter, jokey kind of story.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
I liked it.
And then I have something that was very interesting to me that I found online, and this is short, but
okay,
it's extremely interesting. So here goes, and this was all documented. There were pictures, but I couldn't actually download them. Okay. But it was really cool to see the documentation of it. This is real. It was midnight in May 1951 when the internationally known climber and esteemed Adventure Club of Europe member Richard Steinwinkler reached a remote high plateau in the Himalayas. His expedition, the ascent of the 8,000 Kula Kangri without flames, oxygen, and accompaniment. I was looking for a suitable place to rest as I suddenly saw in the corner of my eye a large figure disappearing behind an overhang. As Steinwinkler describes the moment that stopped him, instinctively I thought immediately the Yeti. At this time, I had certainly already traveled the the Asian area 10 or 15 times, and in none of my visits I was able to get any credible evidence for the fact that the snowman actually exists. To be honest, I thought the idea of a Yeti was a made-up fantasy, and yet in that moment I knew I would not come to rest here. So I moved quietly and carefully to the overhang, behind which I had noticed the creature. Steinwinkler, who had been nominated the Climber of Europe the previous year, describes the moments after he had run around the overhang as initially sobering. Far and wide nothing was to see, and slowly my pulse went down again. And if in front of me a huge footprint in clay would not have appeared, I would have thought everything was just imagination. After taking a photograph of the footprint, Steinwinkler followed the footprints of the creature for hours before he came to a slope and looked up to another plateau. And then I saw him, about 50 meters away, about 4 meters tall. He ran around on 2 legs and was difficult to identify as long as he was moving. When standing still, his silhouette was merging with the piled up stones on his left and right. My only thought was, I hope he doesn't notice me. All the curiosity, all the euphoria was suddenly gone. There was only reverent fear. With shaky fingers, I reached for my camera and took several photographs. Then I crept slowly back. This was my first and last encounter with the Yeti. His discovery brought much ridicule to the recognized mountaineer in the following years, and the authenticity of his photographs was always doubted. Richard Steinwinkler does not understand this to this day. I know that the Yeti exists, but I am not saying that it is the mythical creature that people have been talking about for thousands of years. Perhaps it is a completely unknown animal species, something ape-like or bear-like. I consider it naive to think that we humans have already discovered everything that is out there. 4 years later, on August 8, 1955, another chapter of the Yeti story was written. From a Nepal friend who wants to remain unknown, Richard Steinwinkler received an amazing gift on one of his journeys. The supposed scalp of the Yetis, salvaged from an abandoned monastery in Tibet. I was skeptical at first whether I should accept this gift. Either the scalp was fake and I published a scam, or the scalp was real and belonged to an animal. Maybe the Yeti. That might have been chased and killed. The idea that the Yeti could end up on the shooting list of poachers frightened me. Nevertheless, I decided to take the scalp and make it available to the Adventure Club of Europe. To this day, the supposed scalp of the Yetis can be admired in the Aces Clubhouse. In 1999, a DNA analysis of the hair resulted in the fact that the scalp cannot be assigned to any known animal species. And that was it.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, there was a lot going on. But, yeah, so you can, the Adventures Club, you can actually go check that out.
Where is it?
It's in, hold on. I gotta look again. It's in the Aces Clubhouse. It doesn't say where. I'm gonna guess in Europe. The Aces Clubhouse. You can actually go check it out. It's a attraction that they have, and supposedly it's real. I don't know. They didn't have a picture of it. I would have liked to see that, but maybe you can look it up and check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. Man.
But
wow.
Yeah. See, the reason why I did the little short story and that last little tidbit was because there wasn't a whole lot on the Yeti.
Right. Yeah, there's not as much out there on the Yeti as there is Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Except for I have something that you don't.
Oh, I'm excited to hear what it is.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna fumble through my papers here really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one. You're not even gonna. Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I'm excited now. Cool.
It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for you to hear it. And so, with that, I think we're ready to go into maybe a short little
sponsor break, maybe.
Sponsor break.
You want to do like some ASMR right now? Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? Yeah. I don't know.
Little nighttime AM radio.
AM radio coming
Yeah.
back to you live.
Come on.
All
Take
right.
it away, our sponsor.
Take it away, Anchor. Thank you, guys.
Hey everyone, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And guess what? It's totally free. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast right away with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. And don't worry guys, it's a lot of fun, and I'll see you there.
They're here.
And we're back, everybody.
Yeah, that was a good sponsor break.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Refill our go-go juice.
And undo our little bladders there. I had to pee. It was so bad.
Yeah, the black-eyed kids were watching you because you couldn't even make it to the bathroom. You were just out there willy-nilly like.
Hey, your neighbors waved.
Yeah, I'm sure they did wait.
Well, I'll tell you if I get a court case.
Yeah, I'm sure you will out of that one.
Yeah.
So, are you excited?
I'm pretty excited to hear what you got about the Yeti.
Are you really, really excited?
I'm super excited.
All right. You all comfy, cozy over there?
Oh,
Got
yeah.
your little werewolf statue there to protect you, keep you all safe and shit.
Yeah, I got my little werewolf statue, and I got my Jason Voorhees mask over here.
I was just gonna say, what do you got over there? Looks like a little mask there.
Yeah, it's so I got a. I should have said this in the beginning.
Yeah, you should have.
It's funny because we were talking about it, but I got a hockey mask for Christmas. and
You
it was
play
a.
hockey?
No, I don't play hockey,
I
but
didn't think so.
it was a special hockey mask that I got from a couple of my friends that are pretty badass because it's signed by the one and only Kane Hodder.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
that's badass.
it's got like a picture of him signing it and everything. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
It's a good looking
I've-
thing.
I've
I'm
met
gonna
the
wear
guy-
it and
met
watch
the
you
guy
sleep.
A couple times.
What?
I've met the guy a couple times.
Yeah, so have I.
Once or twice.
He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. We hung out with him once, like all day that day. Remember that?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was, and he definitely didn't seem like he was getting tired of us.
No, I think he likes the attention.
We asked him a bunch of stupid questions.
Yeah, yeah. He choked your daughter though. It was
He
kind of
did,
funny.
and me, and me,
you, yeah.
in the picture, yeah.
We gotta put your back tattoo on the Facebook page,
Oh, you mean the one that he signed?
and that you got tattooed.
Yeah, I have his signature tattooed on my back, right along with Robert England and R.A., who played Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a few signatures back there, don't you, little buddy?
Yeah. If it
we're
wasn't
just-
for COVID, I'd have a couple more.
Yeah, American Werewolf in London.
David Naughton.
David Naughton, dude, I've been wanting
Yeah.
to meet him for a while.
Me too. I was so excited that he was coming to Crypticon in Seattle. And then COVID.
Yeah, COVID happened, and then it just went to shit because they canceled all the tickets. But they refunded it.
They moved it to later in the year, and then when COVID was still a thing, it got canceled to this year, and they said that they were going to honor the tickets from last year.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that'll be nice, though.
yeah,
know,
so
but-
I already got my tickets. Yay!
Yeah, I hope to God that he comes this year, though.
They said a lot of them from that were supposed to come in 2020 had signed to come back.
Good.
So I didn't see the names of all, but I'm hoping.
Yeah, dude, because he is probably up there with one of my favorite actors. Like he's a good one for sure. And
Definitely.
I don't know. I've read online a few things about him being like a super nice guy.
You know, most of the horror actors are like there really hasn't been one that I've met from all the conventions that is an asshole. Like really.
Oh, really?
There's one that I had kind of a.
Come on, name drop it.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna name drop. But it was not the most pleasant experience, which is weird because the first time. So that was the second time I met the guy. The first time I met him was at Crypticon in Seattle. Super nice and everything that time.
Yeah.
Well, then I met him a second time at Mad Monster Party in Arizona, and he was not as nice.
See,
Sad.
that is sad.
But you know who was really cool that we met there was author Mike.
Author Mike, and for the people that don't know who that is, do you wish to elaborate?
Yeah, author Mike did help do the, I don't know if you call it an autobiography, but the biography of Kane Hodder's story.
Oh, okay.
Of how he
That's right.
came to be a stunt man and everything he's went through, and
Yeah, dude caught on fire, literally.
he was bullied as a kid.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And
Look at him now. He's a
just-
big motherfucker.
Oh,
He's a big dude.
Jesus. Yeah. And yeah, author Mike, really cool. We're Facebook friends and all.
Are you really?
Yeah.
See, maybe we should get him on this podcast.
Ooh, that would be really cool. He has a book. Well, he has several books, but one in particular that I really love is called Mr. Blue Stick.
Mr. Blue Stick.
Yes.
What is that?
it's about this little girl and her parents move into a new neighborhood, and she starts playing out in the forest and meets this Mr. Bluestick. Everybody thinks he's just her imaginary friend, and he turns out to be real.
Oh shit.
I don't want to give too much away.
Was it a person or a cryptid? That's the only question I have.
I would lean towards possible cryptid, possible alien.
Possible alien, but
He thinks he's from another planet.
okay.
And it's really cool because the way it was ended, there's still that possibility of unknown.
Huh.
But everybody thinks Mr. Bluestick is the bad guy, and he's actually the good guy.
Really?
Yeah. The little girl gets kidnapped and by a pedophile, like, man. And Mr. Bluestick saves her.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's some scary shit.
Phenomenal book. I recommend it to anybody who loves to read or just loves horror in general.
It sounds more like a thriller, to be honest. In itself.
I could see that. I actually was talking to author Mike after I read the book.
Uh-huh.
I was like, this is a phenomenal book. I loved it from beginning to end. The twists, the turns. It would make a phenomenal movie.
It sounds like it.
And he said, I agree. I would love to make this a movie. And I said, I have a few actors in mind who I think would fit some key roles. One of them being Kane Hodder as Mr. Bluestick. And then I was thinking, God, his name just escaped out of my head.
What's he play?
He's the amphibian guy in Hellboy, Abe Sapien.
Oh shit!
That guy.
Okay, I know who you're talking about at least. Okay.
I can't remember his name for the life of me off the top of my head. Normally, I'm pretty good about that, but
Well, shit. But him.
But he could play one of the characters, and yeah, it was a really cool conversation with the guy.
You saying he could play the pedophile?
Yeah.
Was that really it?
Yeah.
Oh shit! that was me just making a joke.
Well, just because in the book, the way they described the pedophile guy, the actor who plays Abe Sapien. Oh God, this is gonna kill me. I've got to look this up. They have kind of the same body type.
Like how it's described?
Yeah, how it's described in the book matches up with this guy.
Oh, cool. See, that would be really interesting to go and check out. Well, shit. If we get your little author buddy on the show, that'd be really neat.
Doug Jones.
Doug Jones.
Yes.
All right.
He's done a lot of roles.
Over the years.
He was in Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh shit.
Star Trek.
Who do you play in Star Trek?
Saru.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
I don't know. It looks like it's the TV show, so I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
mind.
follow Star Trek anyways, so.
Yeah, Star Wars is better. Prove me wrong.
I agree. 100%. Yeah, he's just been in a lot of stuff. Really good actor. The Shape of Water, where he played yet another amphibian guy.
That fucks a human.
Yeah.
He played the creature from the Black Lagoon, but fucks a human.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And he was in The Bye Bye Man. He was in Han Solo. He was in Ouija, The Origin of Evil. The Strain. I mean, all around, really good actor. Anyways, I
Yeah.
know this kind of got us way off topic where we were.
But I'm lost of where we were at. Shit.
I don't know. We just been kind of off on a little tangent about conventions.
Oh yeah, that's where I got to start because of the tattoo on your back.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we'll save the rest of the convention talk for an episode later.
Later on episode. There we go. I like it. Future
Little
content.
teaser.
Yeah, and I just looked while we were on our little break. We're at 71 people listening.
Any messages, though?
No. It jumped up. Like, I looked earlier today and it was at 61, so we gained 10 people within 8 hours.
Oh yeah!
Yeah. So that's actually
awesome.
really interesting.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
loving that. Are you ready?
I am ready. Hit me with them
Okay.
facts.
Since 1941, there have been 532 reported Bigfoot encounters in Washington. And speaking of those things watching you from the woods nearby, this collection wouldn't be complete without a story about Bigfoot. Washington State has the highest number of Bigfoot sightings in all 50 states. Don't believe in Bigfoot, aka Sasquatch? Steve Mojo Wilkins, co-founder of the Washington Sasquatch Research Team, challenge you to consider otherwise. Since 1941, there have been 532 reported Bigfoot encounters in Washington. Even if 90% of those are made up or misidentified stories, that still leaves 10% as credible. Wilkins also makes a point to note that the sightings are incredibly underreported and many people have seen or heard one and not bothered to give the stats. According to Wilkins, Bigfoot or Sasquatch is a species like any other animal that roams the forest. There are estimated to be between 500 and 1,000 of these creatures living in the forests of Washington, hunting meals, eating fish, raising young, and living amongst us as we roam the hillsides. He points out that the Native American lore is filled with stories of the hairy men stealing fish from their nets and warding with tribal members. These run-ins, he explains, are the reasons they avoid humans. But why have they never been found a dead one? Asks a skeptical. Have you ever seen a dead bear in the woods? If you were dying in the woods, would you go lie on a trail where you would, or would you seek out a quiet hiding place? Good point. So how would I find a Bigfoot, you ask? You don't find them. They find you.
Dun, dun, dun.
Alright, so this story is at the side of the road. Something stood there looking at him. If those stories aren't enough to give you the chills, consider the unexplainable things that are reported on a daily basis across America, such as UFO sightings and alien encounters. One such experience happened to none other than the former editor of this very magazine. It was late in the evening when Eli Brachetto and his wife Mitzi pulled into a campground in Northern California's Redwoods. The forest seemed to enjoy a sinister game as a chilly coastal fog mixed with campfire smoke swirled through the trees, casting strange shadows in the canopy and undergrowth. Tired, they found a spot, set up camp under the lights of their car's headlamps. In the distance, muffled voices and laughter from unseen campers wafted through the filtered darkness. Focused on getting an early start the next morning, they opted to skip a campfire and went about bedtime routines. Conveniently, the restrooms were only about 100 yards down the road, a short walk for washing up before retiring. With bag in hand, Eli set off down the black pavement, his headlamp's light reflecting off the drifting smoke and fog, suddenly a movement caught his eye. At the end of the road, something stood there, looking at him. Through the haze and darkness, he tried to discern what the creature was before him. It stood about 2 feet in height, completely gray, with a large round head and curious eyes. Must be a raccoon, he thought. But no, there was no mask, and no fur, and no tail. The creature cocked its head. Looking back, Eli took tentative step closer to get a better look. The creature withdrew slightly, peering curiously back. What was this thing? Time seemed to halt, and the two stared at one another. Remembering his headlamp, Eli reached up to set the light brighter. The movement startled the creature, and Eli particularly noticed that the creature walked off on 2 legs, dissolving into the misty, shadowy darkness. Every hair on his arm and neck was electrified, and chills ran down his spine. What had he just seen? He scanned the underbrush with his headlamp, seeking to comprehend what he had just witnessed, but the small, gray, upright creature with no fur and no tail was nowhere to be seen. Had he just seen an alien? It was a sleepless night, as every creak and crack in their pitch-black tent seemed to alert him to the possible presence of interstellar beings watching from the nearby woods.
Oh, shit.
So I know this ended about aliens, but there's a reason for that.
Do tell.
Well, it is suspected that Bigfoot is an alien. Like, that's one of the theories out there. And that's why a lot of the times it correlates his sightings with UFO sightings.
Oh, so kind of like where you would see UFOs in the vicinal area, you'd also see Bigfoot and hear reports of same area sightings.
Correct.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yes. And so that's why that story was relevant.
That's really interesting. I've never heard of never heard of the alien theory, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, again, Bigfoot's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Favorite cryptids. And as a youngster, I did a lot of research on Bigfoot. I read a lot of books on him.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, I'm still convinced it's our one theory that we had, who I can't take full credit for because it was also Nick's theory too, the were-squatch.
Shapeshifter.
It's a shapeshifter. And that's why you can't find bones, that's why you can't find anything.
Yep. Because when he dies, he
shifts back to human.
Back into human form.
Yep.
Yep.
I can see that.
I think that's my leading theory I'm going to run with as well. I really like that.
Yeah. We actually told Dan Cummins about that, and he was like, I've never thought about it like that before. I think it was pretty funny.
That's good. But yeah, that's why we did that one. So
Nice.
now we're going to travel to Louisiana.
Dun dun dun.
We're gonna go to the Honey Island Swamp Monster. It's a humanoid cryptid that is reported to have been seen in and around Honey Island Swamp, Louisiana since 1963. It was first reported in 1963 when 2 hunters spotted the creature prowling the swamps. Its tracks indicated 3-toed webbed feet. Sorry, I got.
Damn. That's totally different, but I could I could see it when I was looking up your pictures. I saw some like 3-toed thing and I was like, that's not a Bigfoot. Like that's the first thing that thought in my head.
It is even possible that a Bigfoot evolved webbed feet to better suit its swamp environment. Some even believe it's an experiment gone awry. The creature was also featured in an episode of Lost Tapes where it attacked a hunter who ultimately survived the attack. It is also featured in Cryptids, the Swamp Beast. Now we're going to talk about some sightings. The monster was first sighted in 1963 when Harlan Ford and his friend Billy Mills were searching for an abandoned cabin spotted by Ford in a plain deep in the Honey Island swamp. The friends reached the clearing where they spotted the creature, who kept eye contact on them only for a moment before escaping into the underbrush. Describing the creature, Ford said the following: "It was nothing like I'd ever seen before. Ugly and sinister, and looking like something out of a horror movie." In 1974, Ford and Mills returned to the same area on a duck hunting trip. The two found several dead boars with their throats torn out along the way. Realizing the boars were too far from the water to have been killed by alligators, they began to suspect the monster they encountered 9 years prior was involved. This suspicion was confirmed when they noticed footprints, three-toed and webbed, around one of the boars. Rather than have a second run with the swamp monster, Ford and Mills retreated from Honey Island Swamp at a fast pace. Later that night, the friends returned to make a cast of the footprints.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you ever think it was just a big fucking duck? Like,
Oh, man.
like just giant,
That-
the biggest duck they've ever seen.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
So I got a description.
Ooh.
Standing over 7.5 feet tall and weighing between 400 and 500 pounds, the Honey Island swamp monster, also known as the Louisiana Wookiee, is said to be covered in a thick coat of matted gray or brown hair and swamp weed. Its yellow eyes are seemingly reptilian, and the smell it emits has been called the stench of death. This primitive creature has long been blamed for the deaths of livestock and the mysterious disappearances of children in adjacent areas. Popular lore in the region is that the Honey Island swamp monster might be the horrifying product of a union between a chimpanzee and an alligator. And in the darkly primordial swamplands that must look much the same now as they did thousands of years ago, the existence of almost any creature seems possible, no matter how ominous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a.
I could see a chimpanzee getting it on with an alligator.
Right.
I could see it.
Chimpanzee just bends over and the alligator gets up there and...
I was thinking the other way around because the chimp is more agile in that aspect.
Okay.
I can see it.
All right. Well, the Honey Island swamp monster is allegedly to have a foul stench as other cryptids, specifically in the hairy humanoids category, Bigfoot, skunk ape, Missouri monster, etc., possibly due to the marsh's natural smell.
Yeah, stinky.
So the Honey Island swamp monster, that's a unique creature.
Unique as in it needs a bath.
Yeah, and some deodorant and maybe some cologne.
It's fucking Axe body spray right there. That's their next advertisement.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to talk Yeti?
I've been waiting to hear about this fact that you got about my monster I did.
All right. Well, the legend of the Yeti. You may have seen him in storybooks or video games, on Scooby-Doo or Monsters, Inc. And even if you've never traveled outside the U.S., you know him, the Yeti. You might call him the Abominable Snowman. And we'll actually talk about that name and why that's a pretty big deal in the history of the Yeti lore. Sure, you could picture him, a hulking, white-furred creature capable of breaking a man in half, then probably eating him afterwards. But you'd be surprised to find out that's a fairly recent addition to the story.
Do tell.
The Yeti is actually one in a family of creatures. They're the 8 men, And Americans have one that lives much closer to home. He's called Bigfoot or Sasquatch. But the idea is basically the same. The Yeti is a reclusive, mysterious, and intelligent, and he lives in remote areas throughout the Himalayas. That's a good thing, according to the BBC. One of the traditional tales told by Sherpas is that as the sun rises, the Yeti will grow bigger and stronger. And anybody who's unlucky enough to see him, that person will get weaker and lose consciousness. It's unclear what happens to them after that. And honestly, that's probably for the best.
Oh, shit.
Let's talk about the Yeti and the creature behind the mystery.
Mystery.
Even in Western culture, tales of the Yeti are widespread. It seems like he's been part of Western lore forever, but he's a fairly new addition. According to Daniel Capper, PhD, at the University of Southern Mississippi, the first mention of the Yeti in the English-speaking word came from Brian Hodgson. Hodgson was a representative of the British living at Kathmandu's royal courts between 1820 and 1843 with Nepalese assistants who told him the first stories of the Yeti. Back then, he was described as a wild man who moved erectly, was covered with long, dark hair, and had no tail. It wasn't until 1889 that a Major Lawrence A. Waddell reported finding the wild man's footprints. And then sometime around 1904, there was the first sighting. William Hugh Knight, a British soldier stationed near the Indian city of Gangtok, said that he saw the creature, who he added, fortunately didn't see him. He described it in 1921, telling the Times, he was a little under 6 feet, almost stark naked in that bitter cold. He was a kind of pale yellow all over. A shock of matted hair on his head, little hair on his face, highly splayed feet, and large, formidable hands. His muscular development in his arms, thighs, legs, back, and chest were terrific. There's something incredibly enduring about the idea of an ape-man. Do some digging, and it turns out that every continent has their own version of him, except, of course, Antarctica.
Wow.
Yeah.
Erectly. I'm sorry. I was waiting to say that. That's pretty cool. I would feel like he'd be in Antarctica if he's in the fucking high altitude of the Himalayas. Like maybe there is a Yeti out there and it's just too fucking cold that we're just like, nah.
That could be. In Australia, says National Geographic, he's called the Yowie. He's the Yeren in China, the Farrell's Moor in Scotland. In Sumatra, he's known as the Orange Pendek. In Russia, their mysterious Yeti-like creature is called Almasty. And in the 1870s, local landowners in the remote part of the region of Russia claimed that they had caught one. They named her Xana and kept her captive for years, during which time she was described as a very big, strong, her whole body covered in hair. Xana gave birth to 4 children during her captivity, and some of her descendants are still alive today. In 2013, University of Oxford professor of human genetics Brian Sykes tested samples of her living descendants' DNA along with the DNA taken from the tooth of her son. Contrary to claims that she was a Neanderthal or an Almasty, he found that she seems to have been 100% sub-Saharan African. Examining the skull of her son, He found there were some ancient characteristics, like an elevated brow ridge, suggesting she was perhaps a remnant of an earlier human migration out of Africa and not in Almasty.
So it's an earlier human from Africa and not a mythical being.
Is what science is saying, yes.
Okay, but like my question is that doesn't explain the height and fucking retarded strength.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't get that.
And the one thing that they left out that kind of has me guessing a little bit here is it says that she gave birth to like 4 kids while in captivity. Okay.
Takes 2 to tango.
Yeah, who's fucking her?
I'm gonna insert my seed.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. I'm picking up.
So some Russian guy was like, I'm gonna fuck a Yeti.
Yeah, he just
Like,
got.
come on.
He just got his vodka. He's got his vodka. And I'm gonna go fuck that Yeti. So like, for Russia.
Oh man.
Oh man,
Jesus.
that was probably extremely
Almost
bad.
too far.
Yeah, at least we don't have any Russian viewers so far. Nobody from Russia.
No.
No, that's fucking weird though. Are there pictures?
That's awful.
Yeah.
No, there's no picture.
No documentary. Of course, he wasn't
No.
gonna make the porno of him fucking Yeti.
Right. No Polaroid going on.
Yeah.
Tibetan beliefs tell of Yetis who have participated in Buddhist rituals. Go back to the older Tibetan tales of the Yeti and you'll find something incredible. They were invaluable participants in the Buddhist faith. According to Professor Daniel Capper, stories include ones like that told by Lama Sangwa, a 17th century Sherpa religious leader. He wrote that as a young man he decided he wanted to found.
You got a typo?
Yeah.
You wanted to find?
He wanted to find monasteries through the region. Seeking guidance, he retreated to a cave and began to meditate. It's typical for people to provide meditating religious men with food and water, but Sangwa's carrier was a Yeti. Not only did the Yeti bring him food, water, and fuel for his fire, but he also started learning the ways of Buddha and became a disciple. When the Yeti died, Sangwa kept his scalp and a hand, moving the sacred relics to a place of honor in the monastery of Gompa. His story isn't the only one of devout Yetis. It is believed that in the middle of the night, when all humans are gone and sleeping, Yetis would care for a temple devoted to Pandan Lamo, a protection deity. They would steal in under the cover of darkness, clean and refill offering bowls, make sure the lamps were full, and disappear before the sun rose and people returned.
Oh, wow. You know, that kind of goes back to my last little tidbit story of the guy. At the end of it, his friend, who was unnamed, sent him a scalp.
Interesting, huh?
From I think he said a monastery.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that fucking weird?
Maybe they're the same.
Yeah, so maybe he just got fucking name dropped. You've been fucking owned.
So this next one is the one that I thought you would find the most interesting.
I think the most interesting thing is Russia going, Mother Russia, fuck this Yeti. I keep on thinking about how that's going.
That's awful. That's awful.
I'm sorry, that's just going through my head. Get ready for the OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. All right.
It's going to be our inside joke now.
Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready, Freddy.
The Nazis once went Yeti hunting.
The who?
Nazis.
The Nazis. Yeah, they were some crazy motherfuckers.
In the early 1930s, a young zoologist named Ernest Schaefer was living the high life as what I can't pronounce that word. Described as the Indiana Jones of zoology. Courted by both the U.S. and Germany for his scientific and hunting know-how in what he later called his biggest mistake. He chose poorly. He was summoned back to Germany in 1936 and threw in with Heinrich Himmler. Himmler brought him into contact with the society, who believed in a Nordic Atlantic original creature that had been destroyed when a moon collided with the Earth. They also believed that the remnants of this race survived in the Himalayas and soon mounted and funded an expedition to, at least in part, find remnants of the race. For his part, Schaefer was more interested in the zoological knowledge that was still largely hidden in Tibet. And here's where we get into Yeti territory. The expedition returned to Germany with thousands of dead birds, eggs, pelts, insects, and artifacts, along with, says The Guardian, a taxidermy bear that was believed, but only by some, to be proof of a Yeti. Did the Nazis really believe it was? No, says Texas A&M University's George M. Gonzalez. Schaefer spent a good bit arguing that it wasn't a Yeti at all, but a Tibetan bear. There's no word on how bummed Hitler was.
Yeah, but, I mean, you got to think about it like this. Why would the fuck would the Nazis be saying, like, we found the Yeti. We found the Yeti. Nein, it's ours. Now go to Russia so we can fuck it.
No.
I'm just saying,
Right?
man.
Like, why would they, if they really found a Yeti, why would they turn around and tell everybody?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd keep that shit for myself. It'd be one of your most prized possessions.
Right? So, I have one more.
Sweet.
This story's called Whoa, There's a Bigfoot in My Freezer.
I'm so Is that like a snake in my pants? There's a Bigfoot in my freezer. Is that a euphemism for women?
Jesus. In 2008, according to CNN, two hikers named Rick Dyer and Matthew Whitten announced that they had found the dead body of a nearly 8-foot, half-ape, half-human in the Georgia wilderness. They brought the carcass home, stuffed it in a freezer, and shared photos online, hoping to make money from the marketing and promotion rights. The deception was short-lived. Testing soon proved that the carcass was just a rubber costume, and the duo publicly apologized. However, Rick Dyer's Bigfoot fakery days were far from over. According to the Huffington Post, the Georgia man hit Bigfoot headlines again in 2012 when he claimed to have killed Bigfoot in Texas, whom he then named Hank. Dyer also claimed that the tests run by a university had proven that the corpse belonged to a previously unknown species. Dyer wanted to take the dead Bigfoot on a national tour and charged admission for anyone who wanted to see Hank. Come on. What is 1800s? Not surprisingly, Dyer's efforts flopped again. In 2014, Dyer's second phony Bigfoot was outed to the public, and he re-apologized. Only time will tell if Dyer attempts the same stunt again in a few years.
So this dude was just going around with this stuffed fucking costume.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
N-
I remember that. I remember seeing the pictures and everything, and I remember going, Yeah, that looks fake.
I'm not gonna say I remember it. I vaguely remember hearing about someone claiming they killed Bigfoot. I did no more detail than that. To be fair, that's all I knew. Can you just imagine just hear me out? Just dude going on the show, showing Hank around, and then he's just going around all of America, and there goes the international airport just coming in, and guess who's there? It's Mother Russia. It's just fucking. I couldn't help myself that time.
I couldn't help that one.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That's gonna be my new thing.
Well, and so, yeah, the pictures kind of looked fake when they showed them and stuff, but it kind of makes you wonder, though, what if it wasn't fake, but the government, issued out fake pictures and fake reports to cover it up?
Honestly, that'd make a lot of sense. I'm not saying that our, good old red, white, and blue out there fucking tell the truth.
Alien hiders.
Huh?
Alien hiders.
Yeah, no shit. I could see that being a big cover-up because, it goes back to the Nazi thing. Why would you share that with the public?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, think about it like this. Here's a good example. Let's say, hypothetically, magic is real, right? Just hear me out for a second.
Harry Potter and shit.
No, well, I wasn't thinking Harry Potter, but I'm thinking I don't know, just magic, or maybe a super serum, or superpowers, or whatever. They're doing tests.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell that to everybody. They're not going to tell that to anybody.
Be on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not going to parade around a fucking alien walking out of his fucking UFO on the 6 o'clock news.
Da, 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 da. No, just going in. It's not going to happen. You know what they're going to do? They're going to strap his ass down, dissect the fuck out of it, and get what they want out of it.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly. That sounded Russian, so he's coming in there being like, "Oh my god, it's the Yeti!" No, it's an alien. It's an alien. Yeti!
Throws a pelt on the alien really quick. Yeti!
Gets one of those shag rugs. just a white shag rug. Just throwing it on the fucking alien. Alien's like,
I'm warm now.
Oh, you will be. I'll put you inside me. And then vice versa.
No.
Yeah. That's what's gonna. I'm telling you, that's my new thing. Mother Russia. Fuck a Yeti. I would have loved to see the little retarded children coming out of that Yeti.
Right?
Uh-oh, retard!
You're just coming out and being this half hybrid, half fucking, it's got 3% vodka, fucking 40% Russian, and then whatever the fuck else it had. Yeah, that's all you're gonna hear.
Yeah.
I should have drank less vodka.
And so, for the most part, a lot of our stories today actually ended up being more Yeti than local Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That was intentional.
I like that.
That was intentional.
I liked the...
Because I wanted to show the broad spectrum.
Yeah.
And at some point, we will cover the Patterson tapes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've been talking to you for a little bit about doing a live stream. And we could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just watch the fucking video and just be reacting to it the entire time. That'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe people should voice message us and let us know if they'd like to see that.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just I have to get it out of my system just one more time. Just please. Just please understand, ladies and gentlemen. I just have to. Mother Russia. It goes so well together now. It makes a lot of sense. God damn.
Oh, I've never had so much fun with one of these buttons before, but
Yeah, and I've never heard a Russian fucking a Yeti, so.
yeah. So, are you ready to close this little guy out, or
Yeah.
you want to give a little hint of next week's episode, or not?
So
Whatever. I mean,
no, we should give
people
a
clearly
little
don't
tidbit.
care that much because they don't even fucking message us to say hi.
We
We always check our fucking messages to see what we get.
we get nothing.
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Yeah.
Now I'll give a little tidbit. It's not a demon. It's not a ghost. It's
Could be.
something. It could be, but I
Could
feel
be.
like, in my opinion, it's something in between. It's something more.
More sinister.
Or yeah, it could be a lot more something. It's dark. It's scary.
It's very dark. It's very scary.
Think-
Once you've seen it, you cannot unsee it.
You're gonna be
it
looking
haunts
over your shoulder.
Dreams.
Yep,
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Just looking behind you, just like, oh shit.
This is why we sit the way we do. So
I got your back, you got mine.
exactly. Nobody's sneaking up on us, bitches.
Except for the side, like I got peripheral vision. I'm okay.
Yeah. We're covered there.
So yeah, you got a little tidbit outro for us, don't you?
So people, why don't you submit your guesses of what next week episode's gonna be?
Submit it on the Facebook page, you motherfuckers. No, I'm just kidding.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Right fucking now.
Or
Open
I'm
up
gonna send
Facebook.
Mother Russia to your house. Every single one. They'll try to catch me. I'll come in wearing a fucking morph suit. Oh man.
Alright, so be careful wandering around in the woods at night. Going on a long hike through the swamp. Pay extra close attention to the odd sounds in the distance or the feeling of being stalked. Because you never know if you'll be the next meal for a hungry Bigfoot. So sleep tight.
Don't let Bigfoot get you. And always be mindful of your fearful thoughts.